Hey everybody, welcome back to Ready Steady Play. We're just about to give our final thoughts on Near and Far.
And more importantly, the scores.
The scores, exactly. So the final scores are... Ollie has 60 points, and I managed to get 93.
So the correct answer was 2/3. Who
Ish.
knew? Yeah, close enough.
2/3-ish, which is an official number. So Oswald conquers the land.
A reign of darkness will descend that will remain for 1,000 years. Fortunately, I'm a robot, so it's like nothing to me. But you guys are screwed.
The platypus will come, it will take over. The robot platypus wars will reign for many years.
How do you think the world got ruined in the first place?
Yep, this is like the same war, just on cycle over and over again.
And my wish was just to reunite a cat with its owner.
And you failed. You failed, Ollie. You couldn't do it.
I felt really badly as well.
You didn't go into the Glogo Cavern. You didn't see if the owner was there.
Didn't kick a door in.
You couldn't kick the door in at the chili farm.
But I did establish trade relations with them.
That's true, you did. Well, they needed the trade relations after his wife left him. He needed something to take his mind off it.
Oh dear. It's a fun game.
It's good, isn't it?
Mm.
So I really like this game a lot. And I just wanted to sort of say, because there's really like sort of two main elements to the game, right? There's all of the mechanics, which is wandering around, acquiring loot, getting points, and sort of everything that kind of benefits you in the course of the game, benefits you in ways that affect multiple systems. So, for example, like your companions, having them help you get the chieftains, having them help you move around the map. It also helps you solve checks. All of these artifacts that you build all give you points at the end of the game. So realistically, you don't need to do the quests.
No, I mean,
Quests
it helped you quite a bit to do them.
But they're all supplementary. And that's sort of what I was leading to, because the quests for me really make this game magical.
Yeah, that I do love the fact that we had the side quests.
Yeah,
And
the side quests are great. I hadn't seen them before.
a little bit of me feels guilty at not letting you finish, but at the same point, why should I let you finish? You're an evil platypus demon. For all we know, what he was actually going to do was slice the last remaining free man's throat.
Well, it's my fault. I missed the fact that I actually could have burned my last two hearts and gotten there first.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't was because I didn't think you could get there. I miscounted that. But I also didn't want to get there. I wanted to save the hearts for the check when I got there. Because inevitably there would be one, and it could be a skill check or something that I just couldn't pass. But, I mean, that's sort of... And that's... I mean, that experience, because I was very frustrated being unable to complete that quest, but in a good way. You know, that sort of desire to go and finish that quest.
Because you know you've got to play this map again.
Well, yeah, but it's not like frustration like, oh, now I've got to do it again. I could
No.
go and read the book.
You want to do it again is what I
Yeah,
mean.
I want to do it again. I want to have the experience as part of this world. I don't want to just go and read the book. Because I know that the book is finite, and once I've done that, I won't be able to have that experience again. So it's a really genuine, engaging experience.
And it's the thing as well, it remains a mystery. And as long as it does, you want to play it again. Because the next time you play this, the game's going to be entirely different. And who knows?
But if I get to Meteor Mountain again, I'm going to be like fixated on finding that sword.
Remember, you started at the Forge.
Yes, you start that quest at the Forge.
Yes.
Where did you start yours?
Hot Springs.
So do you think all of these banners come with a quest chain?
In this map, a lot of them did. Not all of them that I saw.
Do you know if the Lone Tree had one if I fought them?
No, it didn't. So the one where you had the cave collapse didn't have an ongoing.
But that doesn't have a banner. That was here.
No, but the Lone Tree.
But the Lone Tree has a banner.
The Lone Tree had a keyword for if you had a certain keyword.
Right, that's right. Because that woman, the leader of the army, is actually one of the final bosses that we demoed in the setup and rules.
Yeah.
So that might be part of a long ongoing chain that starts there.
Yeah, and it was actually I got to read it because it was part of the same quest, and it was actually kind of interesting what it said. So it just makes me more intrigued as to what the storyline looks like. And I won't spoil it, but it was character specific, and it said if you have this keyword, this happens. If you don't, it's this or this. So it's quite intriguing.
So actually, going there was already part of an ongoing chain that takes place over multiple maps.
Although weirdly, if you didn't have that character, then it wouldn't have triggered anyway. You had to have been the right character. So you could play this a dozen times and that doesn't come up. but it could come up as part of your story.
And then that would be a cool surprise.
It makes me wonder how much of the rest of the map has little things like that in it.
So, and you enjoyed the game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you think that the underlying mechanics, without the questing, were robust enough?
I got very worried at the start when I kept failing to have enough hearts left over to put a tent down, and I thought, I'm going to have more than half of mine left and you're just going to be done.
Mhm.
And it literally came down to the last one on each of us.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed at how I was able to recover that.
That was very well done. I did drag out the ending
Yeah,
somewhat, and
a
I
little.
definitely sort of sacrificed points when I was over here
Yeah.
in order to go and do the quests.
Yeah.
Specifically about the sword.
Yeah, because that became your mini obsession, and it just
Yeah.
allowed me to
Well,
sneak through.
That's definitely my favorite part of it by sort of a long way. But
I just love the fact that I had a robot that went to Hot Springs, had to cheat a toad to go past, and then met his brother and was like, "Do you know what? To hell with this family. I don't care. I'm trying to help a cat go home."
Yeah, I'd love it if he was just like priority 1 cat, priority 2 toad folk.
No.
It's like-
Priority 1, cat. Priority 2, not rusting. Priority 3, drink. Priority 4, unknown. Priority 5, toads.
Yeah, no, it's like priority 4. What was it?
Unknown.
Unknown. Priority 5. End of priority command list. It's like a random access memory fault.
I was thinking more along the lines of that bit in RoboCop where he's got the 3 directives, and he's like that one he can't access, and it's the executives sneaking around him.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot more to add, but
I have to say, I'm a bit intrigued. I think some of the treasures, because we did have a bit of bad luck where a lot of the quest-specific ones came out when we'd done everything, and it didn't matter.
oh, these treasures.
Yeah. So I wonder if there were other ones further in the deck that we'd have found more useful, and it's just the way of the shuffle. But the artifacts definitely seemed very fun.
Certainly because of the pace of the game, we definitely seemed to sort of get to a point towards the end where we were optimizing our scoreboards rather than sort of trying to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it got to the point where I had so many hearts that I was just trying to figure out the most optimal way to spend them to score points.
Yeah.
Instead of sort of worrying about where I was going to go or what I was going to do. And I don't know. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think like and the other thing is it depends what happened. Like if I'd gone for those, if I hadn't gotten the sword quests, if I hadn't gone an extra round,
Yeah.
and had a 4th part, or if I just got the fairy girl or whatever earlier.
That would have just been a really quick ending to it.
But I think also then I would have the game would have ended much earlier.
Yeah, definitely, because you did want to find the resolution to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that was that was something I really want, and I don't know if it was worth doing.
Well, you beat me almost more than half of over, so I don't think it cost you anything. But the one thing I did find, I was expecting us to go through this a lot more than we did.
Well, if you think about that whole deck of cards there that you're holding, that's for the entire book. So those things, it's very possible that those things will not come out.
It's just it's interesting because I did wonder when we started the setup what exactly these would be for, and because it tells you which one to get, there's no mystery to it. But there are some very funny ones. Like there's one called Smashing Outfit. Anytime you duel with another player, that player must say, "My, what a smashing outfit you have," or pay you a coin, and you get reputation visiting the town hall. I have no idea what quest line you get to this stage, but it sounds amazing.
That sounds great.
If that's your reward, it's like you're just forcing other players to compliment you all the way through the game. I really hope that's one of the early on ones, and it's just like, right, compliment me or pay me money. I don't care which.
I'll tell you what, if I had, because the game is fairly simple to play. It's fairly straightforward. And once you sort of get the hang of what the symbols mean and how the things work, I don't think, it's not like, I wouldn't call it a deep thinking game.
No.
There's,
most of the hesitation is right at the beginning where you're like, I'm not sure what to do or the best way to do it.
Yeah, and, and it was sort of like, well, am I going to go here? Am I going to go there? And, I think we probably made a few mistakes, but I don't think it was a big deal. I think the one thing I would mention, though, is that I think if I have any criticism of the game, it's the time it takes to explain how to play, because there's quite a lot of like intricate systems for a game that's not actually got a lot of complexity.
Yeah.
So it takes almost as long to explain the rules to people, I've found, and for them to get their head around it, as it does to play the game.
Yeah.
But having said that, we've just played sort of one game of it. But you can play this in a campaign mode with character progression.
And you do have the tutorial world.
You've got the tutorial world. The explanation for that's not much quicker though. Because we've played the tutorial game and I explained it to my friend and it still took a long time. And I think, as you go, it'll get better.
Yeah.
I think, you could easily teach it to someone in half an hour. But even so, that's half an hour to teach someone a game that, it's taken us a bit longer, sure, but you could probably play. And we elongated it a bit with a couple extra quests and stuff. And I think you could see that at the end.
Yeah.
And certainly we went on longer with the side quests. If you're using the random cards, the arcade cards, it would be even faster because you wouldn't be reading all that text.
No,
and you wouldn't have the side quests.
Bam. I mean, to be honest, the one irritation I had at the start of the game is that by default, no one can leave the town and put a camp down. You have to buy assistance, and depending on what comes out, that might mean you're stuck in town for quite a few turns.
But I've found that's always the case with this game. Like, you're stuck in town for a while.
Well, no, but for
gearing up a bit.
For an example, if you had 3 hearts to start the game with, here that's 3 players that on turn 1 leaving the town could put a campsite down.
You mean but everyone can get an assistant at the start.
Well, no, but that would be turn 2.
Right, but nobody's going to start with 3 hearts because we all start with 1 companion, and they're all 2.
Well, they're not all 2.
No, the animal
Oh
companions.
no. What I mean is that because you have to have that companion. If say that all the expensive ones come out randomly.
Right, so what you're saying is if there were 4 players, 3 of them could build a camp, and then the 4th couldn't.
And it's. I think it might be that because we didn't use the mine very much, but
yeah, we certainly didn't use the mine, and I was kind of waiting for you to use it first because
Yes.
I feel like it's kind of a waste early on, and I wanted to at least just get in and get the second slot, but I didn't. But you never used it, so then
well, I used it once, but that was literally because
right at the end, yeah.
I had nothing else I could do.
But I don't know. When Michael and I played, we used the mine a lot. So I think I think we were just being stubborn, unwilling to put down the first tent in the mine.
Yeah.
And we went to the general store to pick up a coin a lot, which is a sign of our stubbornness.
Yeah.
Because we could have gone to the mine and started mining.
It would have done exactly the same thing.
Then we both would have benefited eventually.
Yeah, it was just no one wanted to be that guy.
No, well, the thing is, because the tents are very valuable.
Well,
it's going to the general store. You don't have to put a tent down.
Yeah, I suppose the silly thing is I did have that treasure that would have let me
Recruit someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't keep actually in the end.
No, I mean, I think a few of them I would have done. Like I thought, the merchant contract, that'd be quite useful, because having 2 people in the same faction, it helps you get your bonuses up. But then I didn't realise at the time, it's still a total of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between them isn't, like, the mystics aren't necessarily better than the nomads. They're not necessarily better than the lizard folk. So really, it comes down to, do you have 2 of the same kind that are better than everything else you've got?
But I think also, like, it would help you if you were going to try and get a chieftain.
Yeah, but even then,
because if you're going to get a chieftain, you wind up with, like, I've got 3 nomads.
Yeah.
And two of the red guys.
But it's
and no mystics at all.
But as an artifact, I thought it was going to go further than it did. And really, the thing I got the most use out of was the Singing Skull, because I just couldn't afford to build any of the ones afterwards. I had to keep discarding them. And by the time I could afford something, it was end of game.
Well, you bought the Singing Skull very early on,
Yeah.
and that's quite expensive for early game.
Well, it's because I had the gem. I had the gem from exploring. Ironically, going to the hot springs. Still not sure if that was a mistake or not. It was funny.
You had a hard time getting a third party member, and that was surprising.
Yeah, well, it's because you kept buying them. You've got 7.
Yeah.
I have 4.
Yeah, but
Well, 5
I bought a bunch of them at the end
No.
to try and get more out of the unearthed treaty.
Yeah. Well, I did find it funny because one of the ones I had was for the lizard folk, and the second you started buying them, I was like, well, this is now worthless.
But there's 2 more lizard folk that came out. They breed like lizards, and you've got one.
Yeah, 1. But yeah, so I mean, it's a good game, and I do like it. I'd play it again, definitely.
It's very unique,
Hmm.
and it's sort of, I mean, it's got a lot more to offer. It's got more maps, loads more quests, and I mean, it's quite light. I
Mm.
think, and I think I think it'd be a really good game. I think, and this is sort of, I guess, feeds back into my point earlier. I think it's a really great sort of introductory game for people.
Mm.
And I think that it's almost a shame that it's a bit more complex to learn it, because the kind of people that who I think it's got
They
a very
would
broad
enjoy it.
appeal. So I'm not saying that you can't. What I'm saying is that people who aren't really like major board gamers could get a lot out of it,
Mm.
because the storytelling, and it's quite a sort of an evocative, engaging game.
Yeah.
But it's not too demanding on your maths or anything like that.
Well, that last count up aside.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's so, if it was almost a little more accessible, that'd be great.
Mm.
On the other hand, I think if you watch someone playing it, or maybe you had, you were sort of helping each other through it, learning as you played, you might be able to pick it up really quickly.
Yeah, I do think so. But yeah, good
And
game.
the art is great.
Oh god, yeah, the art is amazing.
I love the art. It's just really sort of it's.
However, I do want you to do one thing. I want you to look this little cat in the eye, and I want you to say, "I'm the reason that you failed to find your owner."
You will become platypus.
That is it's grim. So grim.
Bird person. His
Oh.
name's Tweets, and he's in charge of my social media.
Have you managed to think up a Dutch name that's actually a Dutch name and not a name everywhere in Europe yet?
Yeah, well, I think that sums up our final thoughts on
Get the game. It's good.
Near and Far. Yeah, get the game, support Ryan Lockett so he can continue to make more awesome games. I only just got this. There's loads more content. I haven't played in it yet. I'm super excited to get to that, and I'd love to see like more Atlases, other worlds like Arzium, but another
I-
place to go.
I'm really intrigued as to where the story goes. I want to find out what happens at the Lost City. But
Yeah, I'd love to do a campaign of this. That would be fantastic. I really think a campaign mode will absolutely shine. Because if you think about this, what we just did, but
Well,
with
there's
ongoing
11 of
characters who are sort of leveling up, I honestly think by the time I got to the end and beat the bosses, I wouldn't care about the journey points at all. I'd just be like, that was a great journey.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming on this journey with us, and we really hope you've had a good time sharing this with us, and we'll be back tomorrow to go on a completely different journey. So we hope you subscribe to the channel, and so you come back for that. And if you've enjoyed this series, please throw a like down on the video, and leave a comment below.
beware the platypi.
Beware the platypus.